listening to the World Sports Show, Philadelphia's first soccer-based radio show, broadcasting live from Philadelphia.
Welcome to the World Sports Show. I am Charlie Flowe, joined with John DiCriscio. It is April 22nd, 2015. Hope everyone out there is doing well. How are you doing tonight, John?
Not too bad about yourself there, guy.
Not too bad. Pretty dry. A little wet weather out here in Philadelphia. Had some tornado warnings, the tornado watches. It's been a very interesting week. We are not in Kansas. We are in Philadelphia, so it's been very confusing.
That's right. Thanks for everybody who's tuning in on worldsportshow.com on the new little audio program we got going on there. So we're live in studio in Philadelphia. Thanks for hitting us up. And also everybody who finds us on social media at World Sports Show. Yeah, Twitter, as I say every week, that's not my thing, but
Twitterverse. Twitterverse.
But we're not here to talk about me. We're talking about
the
weather. We're talking about NWSL soccer.
Break down the NWSL. They just wrapped up week 2. We are on the verge of week 3. We're on it a little earlier night here on Wednesday because we didn't want to conflict with NWSL week 3 kicking off tomorrow with Kansas City hosting Seattle. We'll break down all the games that happen. We're going to break down all the games that are going to happen. Got a couple interviews to do, so stay right where you are. Enjoy yourself. Looking at week 1, we had 4 games on Saturday. There were only 4 games, and they all four pretty much going on simultaneously. So you'd have to get to, I don't know anybody that has doing the split screen, but you'd have to have about 4 or 5 different devices to catch all the games. There were some games that overlap, but very exciting weekend.
But the good thing is, just like we said, they're all on YouTube. They're all on demand in HD, high definition. And, you get to watch the games live. Then the games you don't get to watch, you can go back and check them out. But if you do get the chance, go live. Go to the stadium and see the game.
Oh, yeah, you definitely have to go to the stadium live. With the travel, you can only catch a couple games. I'm definitely an on-demand kind of guy. I like to watch the game live on Matt and then go home and actually turn my phone off on the drive home. I try to avoid every possible score so I can go in and watch those games. It's a tough thing to do, to try to avoid scores, and with the year 2015, to just totally avoid a score.
Twitter and, my favorite Twitter and, all the other social media stuff. Even text messages, when I'm watching a game, if it's something that I'm interested in, somebody I talk about, I'll fire them a text, hey, did you see that goal or whatever? And they're like, nah, I didn't see it. Thanks for ruining it for me.
Well, it's the total opposite. I mean, you and I grew up in a day and age when we didn't have the Internet. The Internet's a new invention, especially for sharing news. I mean, even back to the WPS days when you and I covered the Philadelphia Independence, you and I would actually text players on the Philadelphia Independence to get the score. It's like, can you give me a recap? You're asking a player, I need to write a story. I didn't see the game, but how did you play?
That's right, and I still use the phrase tape the game.
Yeah, sure. It's still tape, man. There's a tape underneath that DVR somewhere.
Kids now, yeah, right. On the DVR, my broken DVR. That's funny.
The broken DVR. So the one game that everybody really was looking at a lot was how was Kansas City going to perform? Kansas City had dropped their early game in the season, 1-0 to Sky Blue. They're going on the road to Washington. Washington dropped their game. So one of these teams, unless there's a draw, is going to walk out, still winless on the season.
Yep. Defending champs, Kansas City.
So they get Kansas City, get an early goal by Hayo, a little chipper that kind of got handcuffed there. They go up early, and it felt like it was kind of, is Kansas City now just going to just unleash?
Could be.
Yeah. Well, they did not. Christine Narn took over, scores 2 goals. I mean, a blast, a 34-yard blast, puts them up, or makes it 1-1. And Crystal Dunn scores right after the half, and then Narm just add a little free kick, upper 90 to make it 3-1. So that's your final.
Surprisingly, there. Crystal Dunn's first goal.
First professional goal. Wow. Hard to believe.
Sets up a lot of plays, shots on net, so break the ice. So I can see more to come.
Jill Ellis was in the house, so, maybe that made her step her game up a little bit more when you were not picked for the World Cup roster. But you look at it, she's got a bright future.
One of my favorite players in the league.
Yeah, you'll definitely see her. Hey, next summer after the World Cup, we do have Olympic ball to worry about. So we'll see what happens if he takes her down to Brazil.
That's right. As a broadcaster, am I not supposed to have a favorite players? But I actually do.
Yeah, you are. You're allowed to.
I'm a fan too. We're all fans.
Yeah. So one of the other games was Portland was hosting a Flash. A Flash doing their West Coast swinger, dropped a 1-0 on the road. So Allie Long gets the goal, set up by Sinead Fraley, the Philly product. Flash, tough draw, played 2 great games on the road, don't come up with a single point.
I mean, let's be honest. If you're a Flash fan, don't be discouraged because you are going away. You're going West Coast and opening your season with 2 aways. So come home, maybe a little bit better fortune, but going away, that's tough to ask. I mean,
Yeah, out of your time zone and playing on the road.
that's right.
It's tough. On turf, well, they play on turf too.
Turf, yeah. Take the bye week and recoup. So this week they are idle, I believe.
Yeah, they are idle. So they're the one team. Every weekend one team does not play.
That's right.
Sky Blue hosted Houston Dash. Houston Dash go into there trying to, continue what they did against Washington. They had a 2-0 against Washington on week 1. They go in. Katie Friels puts up Sky Blue. It was a Katie Friels goal. I actually called Shauna Gordon. I apologize.
And that's right, people. Give them the business on the social media. I love it.
You can let me know that I do mess up on calls, and please, you can email me. You can tweet at me, man. I'm not perfect. I'm going to do my best to get the season fixed. So
I mean, look, I'm going to call a timeout right here. For everybody who's never called a game play-by-play, next time they're on any game, put the TV on mute and give it a shot.
Well, not even the TV. You think about it. When you're watching TV, you have the luxury of seeing it zoomed in. When you're in a press box, you're about a mile away from the field.
Man,
sometimes.
I'm still not giving you no leeway.
So Katie Friels puts up Sky Blue 1-0. Great assist by Kelly O'Hara that was set up through Naughty Nadeem. So they did a great job working line. But Randy Waldron came with a plan to not just shut down Nadeem. Let's shut down everybody getting the ball to her. I mean, that was almost too perfect.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. After we get done going over this, we can start arguing that we can talk tactics. I'd like to talk about it maybe next week and the following week about how these defenses are actually swarming the ball a lot harder than they were last year to open up the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, Houston was very physical. Did a very good job of just shutting her down. She kind of had a little bit of soreness in her hammy, so it was a smart move by Gilbert, shutting her down the second half. That this is one of your star players. You're going to need to go down the stretch. When the World Cup players leave, Denmark didn't make the World Cup, so Nadeem's going to be a very key part of their offense because you're going to have O'Hara's going to be gone, Rampone's going to be gone, so a lot of their spark plug players are going to be gone.
It's coaching. I mean, coaching's not just now. Preparation and
20-game season
for the future. That's right, 20 games.
So Houston ties it up with a Jessica McDonald goal and really did a lot of control in the second half. And it came to a point where Sky Blue would have been happy with the 3, but it comes to a point where, John, you're playing for the draw almost. You'll be happy walking out with a point.
Yeah, it comes in odd situations because when you sit back and think about games like we got to get 3 points, we don't want to let it slip by. But during a game, sometimes you're happy with walking away with a point.
Yeah.
It just happens like that. I mean, I don't want to elaborate on it for 20 minutes, but, if it doesn't go in your favor, you get an injury, so on and so on, situations happen. I mean, anything could happen on the field, and just getting a point and staying up in the standings because, come towards the end of the season, that 1 point, which we know can make a difference between, staying home for the
That's pretty much what kept Sky Blue out of the playoffs last year. They might be able to look back and say, hey, this is what got us in the playoffs. We shut it down.
That's right. I know the game plan for the coaches coming in are home, we go for 3. But, hey, sometimes you just got to take the 1 and be happy with it and look forward.
And this is a completely different Houston Dash look. You have Carly Lloyd, Klingenberg, and Morgan Bryant. You kept all 3 of them off the score sheet. I mean, Morgan Bryant did set up Jessica McDonald, but, I mean, to keep Carly Lloyd scoreless in a game.
I mean, we're looking at, in 2014, Houston Dash being the 18-point team, minus 21 in goal differential. Totally different nowadays. I mean, the rebuilding year, they knew they were going to rebuild, get them pieces in place, bring in a couple acquisitions, and there you go. You got a team who they want playoffs.
Yeah. So in our other game, the final game of the weekend was Chicago Red Stars, their home opener, hosting the Seattle Reign, and that had a hard time getting on the roster, under Pia Sundhagen. Her name is Kristen Press, and now she's a player you cannot leave off the U.S. roster.
I mean, Chicago not bad coming in 1 game, 3 points, going right to the middle of the table.
Yeah.
not too bad.
One game they played 1 game, just like Boston played 1 game, and they're right in the mix.
NWSL Player of the Week, Kristen Press.
Player of the Week, John?
It's debatable. I mean, she would make my ballot, my top 5, top 3, but I don't know which order. I mean, a game winner is a very nice goal. Played the full game well, but there's a couple others, we'll talk about that could
Definitely
be number 1, but it's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Game-winning goals do hold a lot of weight, I think.
And on Hope Solo gives you a little bit of, game winner on Hope Solo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
you didn't just beat a keeper; you beat Hope Solo.
I think it might come down to not to beat the drum, but the weight.
Beat it.
The player of the week, not only a good game, but the weight of the situation. Like we say, you can't be the MVP of the year if you don't make the playoffs. So it's kind of like the weight of the game-winning goal, the weight of a game-tying goal. the point of the team. But to me, the value is if that player's not on the field, how well is the team going to do?
Yeah.
So
if they lost, how they still would have lost.
Right.
You know.
I'm not discrediting the player of the week in NWSL. I'm just saying there's other choices that are almost as good, and we can debate that. But it's a good pick by the media. But you know, I always like to be different. Like, you know, this person could have been the same way. I always do that. I start
Contradiction Rick.
Yeah.
Contradiction Rick. That's your new nickname.
Thanks.
Contradict yourself.
Hey.
So, but you know, looking at some of the player of the week, you know, one thing that's really led to a lot of these teams starting off early is not the flashy scores. We talk about the flashy scores, you know, like your Nadim gets out there and scores some beautiful goals, and you know, Rapinoe just can pull a hat trick, you know, out of nowhere. But a lot of the teams that are doing well, like your Houstons and your Sky Blues, and even with the Spirit doing so well, picking up their first win, it's shutting down big players. You know, what defenses can keep Holiday and A-Rod off the board?
It's tough.
Spirit did it.
It's tough.
You know, and you look at what Randy Waldrum did against Sky Blue. He did a great job shutting down the Dean. He shut down the whole Sky Blue attack. And you look at Sky Blue, what they did at Kansas City, being able to shut down that monstrous attack. So it's a matter of sometimes you look at the line and say, oh, we got a 4-3-3. But you look at a lot of those midfielders. I've seen times where they have 5 or even 6 dropping back for support, but then doing a lot of overlapping on the attack. Or it's not a park the bus, but it's a very contained defense, a lot of control out of the back.
Agreed. And, well, not even agreed, but I see your point. And contain the big players. I mean, you can't let a big player – you're going to lose. You get them on the board, let them control the midfield. I think that what that drop back for me is what I'm seeing is taking the midfield out, taking those big playmakers. You got to get them out of the game. You know, it's kind of like you sever the neck to take the head off. You know, I'm using a terrible analogy and trying to throw it. But if you're taking the playmakers away, you're going to keep that big star off the scoreboard. And I think that, you know, in this league now, you know, you let up 3 goals, you're pretty much a loss, and that's in any professional soccer. So that's pretty much one of the magic numbers. You know, your 2-goal lead is not safe, but, you know, 3 goals, you're pretty much done. I think it's like 87% or whatever I read on
it's just adding, like you said, to the midfield. I'm gonna piggyback on that. Is Randy Waldrum had said that was one of his plans going into the Sky Blue game was putting the pressure on the midfield and eliminating good passes in. Now, Nadine got a lot of balls, but they weren't exactly balls that she could really handle and use too well. So you can still get your balls to your forward, but if their back's facing a goal, they've got to make a complete turnaround. So that few seconds there, then you can close a double team on a player. Now, it's eliminating those beautiful through balls and not allowing them to make that perfect pass. Because it's a stat that really doesn't show up in the book. That, yeah, well, you received 5 or 6 passes. Why didn't you score? Well, where were the passes? How were the passes? What were the quality passes? Were they with the balls to the chest level? Were they headers? Did I have to make 2 or 3 steps to my right to get the ball? Like I said, where was my back facing a goal? You know, it's those through balls. Those are the ones. If you can get a player a through ball, a forward, then, yeah, they have a very good chance of scoring. And that's really what they eliminated from the team.
Yeah. I mean, stacking up the middle, taking away them areas where the playmakers can create those little pockets where, you know, in training, it's when the ball comes here, you know, that's your cue. That we could talk about tactically, you know, in the midfield, preventing them playmakers, your attacking central midfielder from getting to that spot and able to look up and having any room. I think in taking that room away, maybe making them play a wing, you know, against the formation that they're playing. It's all tactics, and I think that not only is it the way that they started out playing, but I think that even Coach Waldrum, just looking at the game, watching the whole game, he actually shifted a couple players around during the game, made the transition where that playmaker wasn't getting the ball. It's a chess match the whole game. You could see the shift going on, especially in the midfield.
Yeah, I noticed that Sesselman did a little bit of flopping and switching around the backfield, and even Ohai switched a little bit. Morgan Bryan, a lot of it is, we had talked to him about that Morgan Bryan, Carly Lloyd, and Klingenberg weren't with the team because of national team training. And all throughout the preseason, you're practicing certain plays where he didn't have to introduce a lot of these plays to these players because a Carly Lloyd or a Klingenberg and Morgan Bryan are so good they can just insert themselves.
That's right.
It's more of he said, go out there, just play.
That's right.
That they can adapt so well, and I think that's why Houston's going to be definitely a team to watch. And there's a player on Sky Blue that I saw play in the preseason that kind of plays a role in the preseason. You know, these are preseason games against college teams for Sky Blue, but Katie Friels, she had a great job of playing a cam, like attacking midfielder, but also a very good holding midfielder. You know, she can pull the trigger and shoot, but she slows the tempo up sometimes too. And I think that's a midfielders that I don't see why she hasn't even gotten a look at any type of U.S. camp. Katie Friels, that at least bring her into a camp, because she has a small frame but such ball control, and she's a player that can just slow the tempo down and kind of make it a game of patience.
A game of patience.
Game of patience, my friend.
I mean, it's, of course it's good to have both, having that ability to speed it up and attack. But I like how you throw in the Cam in there.
Yeah, Cam. Center attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
Those are, if we had one of those for the men's side, we might have won a World Cup. But no, I'm not. I mean, might be stepping a little too far, but that's just something we don't see. Somebody that's just a true Cam.
I mean, one thing I'd like to get on World Sports Show on our broadcast is, when you're watching it on worldsportsshow.com, a little kind of like dry erase board, a little tactical board that can come up, and we could do the move the
black doc.
Yeah, little chalk talk. But real quick, thanks to everybody who's on worldsportsshow.com checking us out. Still talking some NWSL.
Yeah, he is John DiCriscio. I'm Charlie Flowe, and send us emails too. We like to script our show based on what the fans want to hear. Radio@worldsportsshow.com, or send it over to the mailbag, or tweet at us at World Sports Show what you want to hear from us and how you want to pick our brains, or maybe you want me to pick your brain.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to get a lot of emails about, they want to hear what the players got to say, because they're kind of sick of hearing what we have to say. But it's kind of like an easy way. What we do is try and get all the, the feedback, the opinions, and put it in a half hour, so it's kind of easy to digest, because if you're going to go and look for all the NWSL news and, it's pretty scattered around, it's going to take a little bit. So we try and keep it a little bit entertaining without boring you guys.
A little knowledge might learn you a little bit.
Yeah. A couple of requests about bringing some food talk back, like
I'm down for that, man. We can start pitching that around with the NWSL players. We got to find out who's the best cook in the league.
I want to find out what stadium's got the best food in the league.
What stadium's got the best food in the league? Man, it's going to be tough because I'm part of Sky Blue FC. But right now, what I'm going to go to, well, the problem was it would have been not 2014. The first season, 2013, Washington Spirit had Famous Dave's Barbecue on spot.
Well,
dude, that was part of the meal ticket for the media. They would give us, you go get a side, an app, man, and a beverage. So Famous Dave's. So
I'd like to hear the kids' opinion versus the adults' opinion, because kids, it's candies,
Who's got the best hot dogs?
The best hot dogs. There you go.
So, yeah, big news for Sky Blue. They have an official beer garden now. It is official. Cloud9, their fan club, is set up in the goal. I guess it's by the parking lot. It's hard to explain. The goal opposite the scoreboard side. But yeah, Sky Blue has a beer garden now, and they have their fan club section, Cloud9. They are set up behind the goal. So good for them, man. They have their own little section and a beer garden right next door. They don't have to actually go anywhere. They can walk about 4 feet in there at the beer garden.
There you go. Good job, Scott.
Dude, that's one of the best fan setups I could ever think of. There's no lines. And when you're getting your beverage at the beer garden, you don't actually miss the game. You still can see the game.
There you go.
You can't beat that.
Winner.
Winner, chicken dinner. So let's look over to week two. Week 2 is fastly approaching. It'll be up Thursday night, less than 24 hours. About 23 hours from now, we'll be sitting at about 18th, 19th minute. And we have Seattle Reign traveling to Kansas City. Kansas City's 0-2 on the season. Seattle 1 win and 1 loss. So, I mean, these are two teams that played in the NWSL final last year. Seattle just, went through the season, just destroyed the season. Kansas City came on very hot of late, but not that it's going to break the season if Kansas City loses or Seattle loses, but it's going to put some pressure, especially you lose all your national team players.
A lot of pressure. Like that old saying, which I use every week, you can't win the championship, but you can lose it early in the season. Just in that seeding, I mean, just, give you an example. Coming into last week of the season, you got a game. You say, hey, you win, you're going to play Portland. But if you come in 1 point more, you get to play the 2-3 seed. I'm just hypothetical if Portland does finish first. So it could be playing a top dog, or it could be playing a team that was hot and falling down. So these games matter. Every point matters.
Yeah, every point
you got to put the ball in the net to win a game.
Hey, it's so cliche. It's such Captain Obvious, but it's true. I think the bigger pressure is on for Kansas City. That Seattle does lose national team players, but they won't lose Kim Little. They won't lose Fishlock because they're not going to the World Cup. So I think that Seattle might be a team built enough to continue to make a run throughout the regular season. But I think Kansas City's going to be hit hard.
That's right.
When they lose A-Rod and Holiday right there, that's a tough blow.
Right.
Any predictions? We're looking at this game, Kansas City, Seattle. Let's start pulling out some predictions, John.
This is a handicapper's nightmare.
I don't even want to.
I mean, just looking at, Kansas City is probably the best 0-2 team that I can think of in a long time.
Yeah.
They got the capability to turn it on and make a run. We're talking wins, not just draws, getting more than a result for, weeks straight. So, man, you got Seattle coming into KC.
I think the cop-out is, I want to say draw, but to me that's a cop-out, saying a draw.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm looking at, I think they're going to be firing. They're both hungry. I'm looking at a 2-2 draw, but that's
I was
just
saying the same exact thing, 2-2.
I mean, that's just,
The offense, but they both have good defenses.
Kansas City's getting their chances. They both have good defenses. They're plus it's in Kansas City. I think that might give them a slight little edge to balance it out. Considering Kansas City hasn't been winning, but I think they're both good teams. I think it should be a really good game. You can bet on that. But
you can bet on.
But I think that
take that to your bookie. You could bet on that.
So I think that a fair across the board is a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. That sounds like a good one.
Man,
I think if either team doesn't go in, I think it's going to be a draw or Kansas City wins.
Such a cop out on our part.
Yeah, draw. We look at the next game. We're looking on Saturday. It's a 8:30 Eastern kickoff. Chicago's hosting Portland. Portland, Chicago. That's a good little rival right there. Chicago's riding high, just beating Seattle. Portland, just they're, I wouldn't say steamroll, but they're 2-0. They've gotten their 6 points, top of the table.
I'll tell you one thing you should bet on is maybe Chicago's home venue being the longest wording in professional sports. Village of, I'm trying to even pronounce it here. Is it Lyle Benedictine University Sports Complex?
Yeah, that's fit that on a T-shirt.
They have to have a little like a catch here. We're going to the Biz or we're going to the U.
Yeah. We'll have to talk to some of the players out there. We're good friends with some of the players in Chicago. We'll ask them, what do you refer to it as?
Playing down the Village, soccer village. But just looking at if I'm going to give my handicap advice, where the
well, you are the smart one here.
No, I'm not the smart one. I'm just off the cuff. I just think like, hey, if I'm putting my money somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, I don't bet on professional sports and soccer. But just to give,
because you got to get in the Hall of Fame later.
Right.
Pete Rose.
The reason why we give the line is just to see, just to give a ballpark of what we're thinking, what the score result may be. Because people do ask us, hey, who do you think's going to win a game? And a lot of people do. That's what I want to know when I hear a sports show. So, Chicago at home, Portland. Can I say 2-2 draw again?
You can. I'm going to say 2-1 to Chicago.
2-1 to Chicago.
I think Roy Dames has played so well at home, and Chicago is such a hungry team that has just barely missed out on the playoffs the last 2 years. I think this is their season. They're just going to play, just ball this year, and they do so well at home. So
I mean,
I'm thinking it's 2-1 Chicago.
I'm going to flip-flop that, and I'm going to go 2-1 with Portland.
Okay.
Reason being, this is their second game of the year. But the travel in Portland, I think they got a nice squad. That's my reason, because I think they got a nice squad. But I'll take 2-1 Portland.
2-1. So look at the Sunday games. We have Boston hosting the Dash, and we have Spirit traveling up to Sky Blue. So Boston has only played one game on the season. They lost early in the season. Sky Blue. Boston has played one game on the season, lost it, and we have the Dash traveling up there. They've won the first game, and this game. So this is another tough one. Dash got their first ever franchise win at Boston. So Boston's definitely a team in the rebuilding state. So I'll throw it at you, John. What do you think on this game?
You know what? I don't really think it matters what I think, but we do got a clip. We did talk. Charlie actually spoke with Coach, and
I did actually speak to him. That'll be, he's talking about the Spirit game when they're, Spirit game.
What it is when I'm queuing up, I'm trying to get my cues ready for audio.
Yeah. So while he's getting that queued up, that's the other game. That's a 6 o'clock game this Sunday. I'll be doing that call. You can tune into the YouTube. If you want to come to the game live, great. If you want to tune in, you can hear me making a call with Dan Laletta, I think one of the best color guys in the league. I'm very blessed to have a guy that knows the league, and I don't know, he understands. I mean, we just worked together for the first time last weekend, and this guy, he knows the league.
Just off,
and
he
knows a lot of the. He knows a lot of the. I don't know what to say. It's ethics, but he knows a lot of the rules of play-by-play and a lot of rules of color about not talking too much. I talk a lot, but he knows when to insert himself.
He's good. Just you asked me to critique the show, watching the game, and I think that I couldn't have. He's a professional. Came in as a professional. I mean, the broadcast sounded great in my opinion. So, I did listen to it, and I'll listen to it just through audio because most of the time, like with this show, I'll put it through audio and edit it and cut it out and just listen to what goes on. And then, it's crisp. Like, you guys sounded clear. No ahs. Like, I'm just listening to myself talk now. I'm like, and use transitions like and. But no, it was pretty clear. Broadcast as a whole, just going through, I think that, it's getting better. Like, a couple years back, I'm like, oh, man, a couple of broadcasters, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I'm like, it's just
it's a learning curve.
It's a learning curve. It's just choppy because one is the league is new, and just to to have the stats, have the background. But it's come a long way, or a little way, but it's getting better. I think that I mean, Dan tore it up. I think he did a real good job.
Yeah, Sky Blue will be hosting Washington Spirit. I spoke to Mark Parsons earlier this week, just basically talking about what's going on this week.
So also, I'm going to play a little. I got Mark Parsons. I'm going to play him now, but after the show, we're going to post up the full interview on worldsportshow.com. Let me fire that your way here.
Now, you guys got an interesting matchup. Scott, and they're only meant that drivable kind of game.
They did it last year.
Flow.
Got one more clip of here. I'm going to play Washington Spirit, and I'm going to throw another one there if you don't mind.
Let's do it. Joe Lohman, Charlie Flowe.
It was
the four.
extremely training every day. Excited to see them.
To Joe Lohman and Coach Mark Parsons of the Washington Spirit for taking the time out and speaking with Charlie Flowe. The full interviews will be on worldsportshow.com later. We're going to post the full articles as an article, the full interviews as an article, so you guys can check it out. Very good stuff. Both very good. The clips go for itself, so check them out. And also after the show, we're going to put it back on there, an on-demand type feature where you can listen to the whole show again. And thank you again, worldsportshow.com, for everybody on the, you want to give the Twitterverse, or is that what they call it?
Yeah, Twitterverse. Our Twitter handle is at worldsportshow.com. If you like following John, in his one tweet per month, he is at John DiCriscio. It's 0.5 tweets a month, at John DiCriscio. And you can check me out on the Twitterverse at DJ Flow. And, hey, follow Mark Parsons and follow Joe Lohman. They're awesome people to follow. And follow Washington Spirit. Great follows. I mean, really should be following all the teams in the NWSL. I'm sure you do if you're listening to the show.
They follow the league. I know they got the me or like me or whatever buttons on there.
Yeah. So, no, it's always good to talk to Joe. I'm a big fan of Joe. And, she played here in Philadelphia when she played for the Philadelphia Independence when it was the WPS League years ago. So one of the hardest working players in this league. That she's a player that maybe comes in as a sub or doesn't get her full 90. She will work out at least 90 minutes worth. Say she gets pulled in the 75th, she will at least do 15, 20 minutes of hard workout after the game. And you and I witnessed it several times where you and I are there at the Independence game. Hey, we want to interview you after the game. Okay, press person's like, yeah, she's going to be running for another 20 minutes.
And we're like, yeah, come on, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, no.
90 degrees at night, sweltering. Joe's still out there running laps, so there you go.
Still does it for Washington, Mark Parsons was telling me. Still runs.
I was just
Unbelievable.
standing there sweating, you got to be kidding me.
And I'm complaining about being hot and tired.
Work ethic, and check out the interview. She does talk about work ethic. We talk about a little food talk. It's funny that we get the pro athletes getting food talk. But
dude, we live in Philadelphia, man. This is one of the best eating cities in the country. You look around, look at all the fat people here.
That's right.
We're doing something right. So no, check those out at worldsportshow.com. A lot of stuff we posted on our YouTube channels, but. Yeah, thanks for big shout out to John. John does everything. I just show up and look decent. He does the production and interview stuff. I might do the interview talking, but he does all the hard stuff. I can't imagine all this.
This Keiko's I do is hit the button and try and get the right one right. Whoops.
Oops.
What are you gonna do? It's live. I mean, we're live. We're off the cuff.
And bada bing.
Hey.
So, but yeah, if you get a chance, go to your NWSL home games this week. That is Kansas City hosting a home game Thursday night against Seattle, so check that out. It'll be Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, so 7 p.m. local. Saturday game, Chicago is hosting. And then Sunday, you have Boston hosting Dash and Sky Blue. So, and also tune in to our Twitter at World Sports Show. We're going to be giving stickers away this week, John.
Again.
Wow. Tune into the show. Follow us on Twitter. Must follow at World Sports Show and Sky Blue FC. We're going to give out some tickets. We're just that nice of guys.
Man, can't beat that. And you know what the best part is?
The best part is you're eligible.
It's free. Twitter's nothing to join. You get in there. It's just for fun. It's just to get our fans. You know, we got loyal fans who listen to the show all the time. Give them a chance to get to a game for free and experience it live. Not a bad deal, you know. I know that I'm not eligible because I do with the show.
Yeah.
I wish I could put the fake nose and glasses with the mustache.
I got an
on.
alias. I'm going to call in.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
No, but thanks for everybody tuning in. John, any final thoughts from you?
You want to give? I mean, we got 2 minutes. We can toss it around a little bit more before our time runs out on our allotted live spot, which I'm just making up.
All right, we're going to come back to you. Remember, we did say player of the week. I've got mine in my head. Your player of the week, NWSL Week 2.
Man, my player of the week. I'm going to go to yours first.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Hey, you can hand it off to me.
No, I'm going to go to you. Go ahead. Give me your player of the week.
My player is Christine Norm for Washington Spirit. You know, just her blast of a goal in the first half to make it 1-1, and her free kick. I think it's the quality of the goals that you can see a player do that in one single game. It's such a hard thing to replicate. That, you know, that to me I feel like that's bigger than, I wouldn't say a game winner, but it was the game winner when you put it up. You know, yeah, Crystal Dunn did make it 2-1, but scoring 2 goals like that, man, you're a winner. You're a winner in my book.
Hey, man. Crystal Dunn did score a goal. Well,
yeah.
That's my player of the week.
Okay, there you go. She technically scored the game winner, made it 2-1.
And an assist on the goal, putting the ball in place.
Oh, yeah. Served up on a platter.
Yeah. You can put her. Has she ever played goalie?
Who? Dunn?
She plays everywhere else on the pitch.
Yeah, why not?
Why not put her in that one night? But
it's like reminds me of Ella Masser. You know,
that,
she's now playing right back for Houston.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, that's just our opinions on it. But there's no bad player of the week. I mean, they all hold weight. You know, it's just our opinions, and our opinions count somewhere.
Definitely a lot of second place votes. That's like saying, hey, if I had another vote, I'd have voted for you.
Has there been a split player of the week?
There has not. We should do that. We do have our media vote. Split player of the week.
Sure.
Well, you have the first place votes, second and third place votes, but I mean, I'm sure it's a mathematical possibility. It can't happen.
I'm sure the media officer's like, yo, you guys got to stop. You wouldn't make me work. The format that we
Patrick
got.
in the league. Patrick's like, dude,
come on, guys.
we do it, man.
Get your winner and get it in and keep your mouth shut. Do us the favor.
I do want to say, because you and I are both goalkeeper coaches and goalkeepers, that and I feel that goalkeepers don't get a lot of love in this league for player of the week.
No, and that's one thing that I do agree with. I mean, what does a goalkeeper?
What do you got to do to be player of the week?
Unless the goalkeeper comes out at the a 0-0 game at minute injury time and head one in for the game winner.
Yeah.
A shutout and a game-winning goal.
A couple second-hand assists. We don't keep track of those.
Shutout and a PK. But yeah, it's I do like the GK the week. I mean, keeper. I mean, there's been a lot of good saves so far.
I think we'll start doing that. We'll do the GK of the week too.
I like goalie
Let's
week.
do it.
And I like an 11. I like the best 11.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we can do it, but there's but the goal of the week, the player of the week, the play of the week, that all stands out.
So, well, thank you for everybody tuning in.
We have one more little clip if we want to fire it in.
Alrighty, let's do it. I believe it's Lily Casham talking to Morgan Bryant.
That's right. Let me get this newfangled laptop device going. See, that's another thing too. These laptops, man.
The old internet machine.
It's not that. It's just that use the touchpad mouse, not doing audio stuff. You got to have the real hardwired mouse, or else the sliders and get it going. So I'm good on it, but give it a whirl here.
Bada boom.
Lily Casham, World Sports Show here with Morgan Bryant. World Cup, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great experience, and to be able to be on the team at such a young age is such a blessing, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be fun.
When you found out, what the first?
Jill actually called me and woke me up, so I kind of went back to sleep. And then, when I actually woke up, I called my parents and my boyfriend and just told them the news, and obviously it's a really exciting moment.
What's one quality that you possess that could help the U.S. win the World Cup?
That's a good question. I think that, obviously I'm going to do the role that, is to me, whether it's to attack or to defend or, close out a game or be the best teammate. So for me, I think I'm just going to go out there and calm the team down and be able to keep possession and hopefully link the team and do whatever you need me to do.
And we can kind of say that you're not a rookie. You've been around for 2 years on the senior team, like a rookie.
It's great. I actually really love playing for the Dash, and I think it's such a professional environment that we put ourselves in, and I think just playing at the stadium at BBVA is awesome, and Randy's a great coach. The girls are awesome. I'm having fun, and I think it's a great team, and we're going to keep building off of the...
Is Lily Cashian? It's off the minutes. good every there. We're actually going to have it put worldsportshow.com. It's just funny how we toss that in. Now you only got to interview the, we're just number one in the draft, one of the best players.
Morgan Bryan.
Player.
I think I've heard of her. UVA.
But listen to Morgan Bryan's answers. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I just heard that, got called in the national team, went back to bed. Classic.
It's like, okay, all right, Joe, I'm out. Peace.
Got up. I think it's,
I'm middle of sleeping right now. Call me back.
That's not the first time on World Sports Show we had a national team player said that they got a call and went back to bed. I think it happened a couple times. I want to say maybe Bill Hamid of the.
Oh, he was at Chipotle. Or something.
Yeah. That's right. We've had a couple of players say
they think they're getting punked sometimes too. Like, yeah,
they
right.
Think it's a joke. I know Mike LaHuda, the Philadelphia Union, when he got the call for the Sierra Leone national team, I think he thought he was getting punked at first.
Yeah, he thought it was one of his buddies messing. Then he hung up on the head coach. It's like, dude, gotta call you back. Dude, you're lucky the coach called you back.
So it's
like, I tried to call this guy. He hung up. So, dude, you lost your roster spot.
We got to go back and look at the tapes because I know somebody said that they,
No, we have had. I've heard players saying that they were middle sleeping or hung up on the coach. They ignored the number. Yeah, they said number like, who the heck is this? And to hit ignore.
Classic.
Jurgen Klinsmann was calling me. I hit ignore.
Yeah.
Sorry, Clinzy.
Yeah, Jay Klinsmann on the core ID.
What's this guy want?
Because they do got the apps now where you can just dial, put the name and number, and it'll ring your phone. I think that's pretty funny.
So, but no, thanks everybody tuning in. Thanks to all work. Also, big shout out to Cassie. She helped us out with our recap on World Sports Show. She's worldsportshow.com. She's going to be doing a lot of our recaps on our .com. She also plays for Rutgers, which big shout out to her team. They ranked as high as 7 this past year. So
the nation's nothing to see.
Really hoping Cassie will be playing in NWSL, which will be a weird scenario where she'll be able to recap herself.
Yeah. Say some good words.
Yeah. So, all right. Good night, USA. Good night, Canada.
See you then.